been a crazy couple of weeks.
All right, jumping right in here, the video title says it all. Some people might view it as hyperbole, but it's not. And today I want to talk about how Twitch is titanicking itself on the iceberg of Hassan Piker in one of the most spectacular displays of brain-dead decision-making that I've probably ever seen in the world of streaming. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of dumb things that happen in the industry, but start to finish, we're watching a business destroy itself in real time. If they don't make substantial changes, that is. And so far, the socio-political atmosphere and corporate environment doesn't seem to be letting them make those changes, which is flat out sinking their public reputation and the entire business model. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of showcasing all the individual clips and naming all the streamers involved because it's a cesspool. There's a website.
There's too many of them. That's the reason why. It would be a 1-hour video.
Site that recently popped up called danclancysucks.com, which has a hefty number of clips.
Yes. So there's a whole website that's been made just about, and like, I think it's kind of, I'm going to be honest, okay? I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit for Dan here. Twitch was like this before Dan was the CEO. They were doing the same thing. It's not like Dan is like, all right, turn on anti-Semitism. Let's go. Let's get it started. But, you know, people are not happy about it.
Archived on it for those that want to look.
Yeah.
But for the sake of summary, I'm just going to do a broad strokes outline for the type of things that have been said so people can understand what the political atmosphere on Twitch has now become. Just for clarity, since I already said his name, the epicenter of this problem is a streamer named Hassan Piker, and most of the other people involved are in his direct orbit. Moderators, fans, friends, etc. These people are positioned on the extreme left of the political discourse spectrum, but the term horseshoe theory has probably never been more true in the world of streaming, because this radical sect of the extreme left genuinely harbors anti-Semitic beliefs, loosely disguising those beliefs by simply replacing a couple of key terms and phrases in their everyday dialogue. Again, without...
I think that it's very hard to know when it's happening and when it's not happening. And the problem is that there's a lot of comments. So this is really what happens, is that because, like, I think that being against Zionism or being against Israel or being critical of Israel, I think that's very fair. And a lot of people think that. But the issue is that when you have a person that uses terms like that, who's also making negative comments about that same group of people, the lines get muddied and blurred a lot. And I think that's how you have websites like this and movements like this happen.
Fully going down the rabbit hole, instead of Jew, they say Zionist, except the term is now indistinguishable because of their blanket usage. When advocating against Israel in general, they often...
I have seen this, and I think that you guys have seen this too. We have all experienced racism leveling up. I don't even think that we haven't had racism leveling up. It's been an entire new expansion with Twitter. Like, I've seen tweets where it's like, somebody says like, oh, this is how you want to clean your shoes. And then like they get quote retweeted. They say, I'm not listening to a Jew. And then the quote retweet gets like 50,000 likes. Whole new expansion. Indians are getting it a lot too. Indians are getting farmed nowadays. What the hell did they do?
Qualify their calls to violence or extremist rhetoric as being only against the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. But IDF service is mandatory in Israel, and all citizens above the age of 18 serve for at least 2 years, with rare exception. On the subject of conspiracy, this group of political extremists denies the legitimacy of pretty much all atrocities committed on October 7th, blaming Israel for much of that tragedy, if you can believe that, under something called the Hannibal Doctrine. And still further, they directly agree with, support, and platform literal terrorists, or make blank statements against U.S. veterans, wishing that more of them would, quote, get PTSD as a result of their service.
You know what Dan Clancy really needs to do? He needs to do a thing where it's like, instead of banning them, you need to just like make them go on like a mandatory vacation to like Hawaii. Go out there, hang out. Like, remember, like, just chill the fuck out. It's just, because it's just such an unhinged, yeah, decompress. Like, just, how do you do, like, what's wrong with you? It's fucking weird. Retirement to touch grass? Yes. Streamer PTO.
Service. There's more, a lot more, but the gist of it is that radical anti-Semitism has grown and festered inside the Twitch community to an extreme degree, which is a problem now coming home to roost as the platform suffers under the self-inflicted strain of allowing radical, hateful, and disgusting content to be consistently amplified across the entire website. With that said, community political extremism isn't the only problem Twitch is facing. On the contrary, the mere existence of extremism probably wouldn't have hurt them all that much if it wasn't happening alongside platform moderation failures, and even more severe, openly disprovable lies at a corporate level, which paint the entire business as being complicit with this kind of hateful conduct. See, it turns out that Twitch was deliberately blocking all signups from Israel beginning shortly after the October 7th tragedy, and when apologizing for this, the company stated, quote, "We temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine. We did this to prevent uploads of graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. Signups were not disabled, and we continued to see signups from both regions. Users could choose to sign up with phone verification. We've learned that, inadvertently, we did not re-enable email verification signups for either region," end quote. However, multiple first-hand accounts and code snapshots of the website itself dispute that claim, showing that phone verification was also not working, and that Twitch had seemingly decided to blanket ban the sign-up process completely. Keep in mind...
Banning everybody from Israel. Well, that's a bit of an oopsie. For a year. Yep.
None of this is happening in a vacuum. Twitch has been widely criticized for years over unfair, highly biased moderation efforts, where some streamers will be selectively banned while others receive no punishment whatsoever for equal or substantially worse infractions. The terms of service has been unevenly enforced, categorically, and the wider community has no actual indication of how they should act, beyond a general sentiment that left-leaning political extremism is totally okay, and anything right of
Well, this is why Twitch is never going to be able to ban extremism. Because people that are part of these, like, fringe political groups think that what their extremism is not extreme. They don't think that they're being extreme. So this is the reason, and this is the problem that they're going to run into with, like, trying to use language like, oh, we're going to ban extremist language. Because if they ban extremist language, who decides which language is extreme? That's very dangerous.
Is at risk, and whether or not that impression is actually true doesn't really matter, because that's what people think, and that's what their actions have been clearly showing. Here's the thing. Being a biased platform doesn't mean your business has to fail, but Twitch is in a uniquely bad position here because they don't have content moderation systems at scale. The best comparison here is probably YouTube, well, obviously YouTube, which experienced an adpocalypse a number of years ago, actually multiple adpocalypses spread across a number.
Do you want to know how to make a lot of people on YouTube really mad? Talk about how the Holocaust happened.
Of years, but in response, YouTube built out an entire system.
Sorry guys, you actually thought I was gonna make, it was gonna be like more than a few days before I started making jokes like that? No, it's immediately. We're so fucking back. I'm ready. I'm ready to go again, man.
Where they can selectively classify content to different categories, such as ad safe, limited advertising, or demonetized. That system sucks in a lot of different ways, and you're not going to catch me praising it, but its rudimentary purpose is at the very least functional, because it allows content to exist on the website that is shocking or provocative or unsafe for brands, with air quotes there, without destroying the collective advertising potential of the entire platform.
Well, what it does, basically, it's really simple, right? They just put they don't want to put advertisements on things that advertisers don't want to be on, like, fucking obviously, right? That's why like YouTube has like so many different distinctions of like, is this made for kids or not? Or like, you know, what type of content is this? Or like, what section is this supposed to be a part of? Yeah, it's just how it is.
Let me explain a little bit better here. YouTube, through Google, allows pretty much anyone to advertise on their platform. $100, $1,000, $1 million, doesn't matter, because you can just sign up and use their advertising portal to run campaigns and just give your own stuff, fill out the information, click, run, done. This has a variety of problems associated, like scammers and fraudsters running tens of thousands of ads across the platform, which I've covered extensively in the past. Shout out to Guardio, by the way, for protecting Chrome users from all of that phishing and malware website trash. And I directly contribute to their threat database myself, so I recommend it to viewers.
Is this an ad?
I'll have a link down below to their service. But
okay.
Anyway,
yeah, it is.
Despite being an imperfect system, YouTube and Google's advertising pipeline, combined with their ability to let advertisers choose where their content will be shown, makes it so that the website can realistically have everything from kid-friendly nursery rhymes to certain political extremism without threatening the entire advertiser ecosystem. Yeah, Twitch doesn't have that. It has none of that, actually.
Twitch, actually, this is a huge problem that Twitch has, because the Amazon ad system, and like this is a macro level problem that actually doesn't just have to do with Twitch. The Amazon ad system, like, so if you were to compare like the quality, right? If you have Amazon versus Google, this is Google's ad system. It's probably a bit too big. That's Amazon's ad system. So Amazon started, experimenting with tags on Twitch maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And the reason why this is really bad. So think about it, like if you're an advertiser and you're selling makeup, do you want your ads playing next to videos for Space Marine 2? No. No, you don't. You don't want to have, because... Yes, no, you don't. You don't want to have your ads playing this too. You want to have it being playing next to like other girls putting on makeup or something like that, right? Like female focused content, which is what makes sense. So that's why Google AdSense is so strong and so effective, is because of the ability of Google to target ads to stronger and more convertible, right? It's like if you're selling an ad to 1,000 people, you'd want to sell it to people that are the highest probability to be activatable on that ad. Google does that so much better than Amazon. Think about it like this. If you go on Twitch, it doesn't matter what channel you go on, you get the exact same ads, don't you? But the content's totally different. Think about how much less valuable that is. Think about it from an advertiser point of view. There it is.
In order for people to advertise on Twitch through Amazon, they need a direct relationship with the company and a massive initial ad spend to even qualify.
Yep.
Twitch advertising doesn't come from regular businesses and everything.
Whereas on Google, if you want to advertise on Google, all you need is a shed and a fake cryptocurrency, stream, and suddenly you're advertising under all the best YouTube videos.
People. It comes from large clients
YouTube isn't
who run
perfect
huge
either.
amounts of money through the platform, and all of those ads show up on every single valid stream.
Yeah.
This is a problem, because when a small subset of the creator community goes down this kind of extremist rabbit hole, brands are now having their ads shown alongside literal terrorist amplification, which is a completely unappealing prospect for them. And to make it all worse,
That's one way to say it.
broader community on Twitch is acutely aware of this and now weaponizing it against them. There are multiple...
I think that people don't actually care about the terrorist propaganda. I know this might sound crazy for me to say. I know some people do. But I think that what really gets a lot of people is the fact that people perceive there to be a double standard. People hate double standards. It's like the Norm Macdonald thing, right? Like, people hate double standards and hypocrisy more than oftentimes the action themselves, because it's an insult to the individual person that is witnessing it, because it's insulting their intelligence, making them think that it's not happening.
very large-scale communities who have now explicitly begun calling for advertisers to be contacted. And this is where I myself get a little bit mixed on the issue, because that's a pretty scary thing to see happen as a creator. As a side story here, I've had that happen to me before, where a journalist spent like 6 months going around emailing advertisers and trying to get me and a few other creators as well demonetized. So regardless of who I see targeted by this, the idea of going after sponsors and ads, in my opinion, is a little bit dicey. However,
it's very, the best way for you to monetize as a content creator is to be funded directly by your audience. I made a video about this in 2017, and it turned out that I was right. And it's not really too big of a difference, but really, you have never typed one message, and this is the first thing you had to say. The fuck out of here. Anyway, what was I saying? I forgot.
Personal feelings are somewhat irrelevant on this, because one side of the political spectrum has been using this tactic relentlessly for years, and now the same thing is happening right back at them through Twitch. Make no mistake, this is an apocalyptic situation for Twitch as a platform, because they have unevenly...
Oh yeah, advertisers are skittish, and you can't rely on them. Yeah, we'll speedrun this.
...forced their moderation terms for the past, decade, leading to a lack of community respect for them as a company. More recently, they have allowed left-wing extremism to fester and grow with no pushback whatsoever, leading to a wave of indefensible or inexcusable statements across the website. And now, those statements are being shown.
This is what happens, right? Is that there's so this is a big problem that people on the internet have, is that there is something that's effectively like internet politics. Well, internet politics isn't real-world politics. So whenever you hear somebody that has an internet opinion about something and it gets put and broadcast to the average public, they're like, what is this psycho saying? Where it's on the internet, this is normalized. But if it goes to mainstream media, people are like, what the fuck? And I think that happens a lot. And that's what's happening right now.
Opposing communities, leaving Twitch in a situation that can't be solved by anything other than very heavy-handed enforcement of their own terms, which they have been deliberately ignoring and not doing for years. Stuff is already happening behind the scenes, by the way. I'm not in the know on this per se, but there's pretty reputable creators discussing it who are actually being contacted by people at Twitch or Amazon. And the general sentiment that I've been seeing creep forward right now is that the advertisers are basically in shock, open shock at how bad the association can be for them, as well as what kind of content their products can be shown against, leading to a massive retraction in potential business for Twitch as a platform, which is...
You could easily assume this is what's going to happen. Easily assume.
I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a month or two away from hitting full force. My timeline could be wrong easily, but this issue isn't going anywhere, and the problems facing Twitch as a result of extremists in their broadcaster community are only ever getting worse. It's kind of hard to really communicate the gravity of the situation to people who don't really frequent the website, but the level of extremism, if applied to any other group in the entire world, would be jaw-dropping levels of reaction immediately. If the statements being made by...
I think that it would be jaw-dropping levels even now. And I think that's what's happened, is that in the last 2 weeks, a lot of these clips have come out of hoping soldiers that get PTSD. Normal people don't think like this. Normal people don't talk like this. You go to Walmart and there's the crazy bum with 2 teeth that's talking like that for sure. Well, of course he is, because he has to before the aliens kill him. But everybody else that's in the store buying things thinks that's fucking unhinged. Yeah, IRL has consequences. Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that it's it's a distortion of reality that happens on the internet, where people think that extreme opinions are normalized because people self-radicalize themselves into echo chambers. That's what happens.
Certain Twitch broadcasters were tweaked ever so slightly and applied to quite literally any other racial or ethnic group on the planet, they would all be deplatformed instantly. Somehow, the prevailing social norms inside Twitch degraded to a point where they have completely lost the plot and become...
It's obvious double standards. Everybody can see it.
a protection racket, really, for heinous levels of anti-Semitism, masquerading as anything other than hateful. And the music is about to stop, because advertisers are not going to tolerate this, and weaponization of the advertisers is now a default tactic in the online culture war.
Because it works.
Just in case I haven't fully outlined this
That's why.
towards the end, just so there can be no doubt whatsoever, even though I said I wouldn't go too far down the rabbit hole on specifics, one of the largest broadcasters on the entire platform, who is consistently shielded from accountability in every respect, played a straight-up terrorist propaganda video live on stream. And
I love how he's getting the Voldemort treatment. I love it. I think it's so fucking funny. I'm sorry.
Joked about how they like to put the Israeli and American
God.
flags down next to each other and march over them. He refers to it as a musical, unironically propagating it to his audience. And some of the most flagrant TOS, like terms of service violations on Twitch that you can possibly imagine for him and a variety of others. And nothing happens to him. I promise you, when advertisers are seeing this as it gets relentlessly spammed to them, rightly, by his alarmed critics, they are noticing and they are taking action. Personally, I find myself pretty much okay with the platform failing outright. It's been going down in flames for years at this point. I stopped streaming back in, 2018 for...
I like Twitch. I'll tell you this, and I'm not saying this as in, hands up, don't shoot. I'm just saying, I like Twitch. I think it's a great platform. I don't want to see anybody get banned, but if you're going to have a rule and you only apply the rule to one group of people, it's not a rule, it's a weapon. That's my opinion. You have to be fair.
Variety of reasons, and watched the dumpster fire ever since, but there's a lot of people that really do just play video games on the website. And they honestly don't deserve to face an adpocalypse because the moderation team and a fringe group of extremists have gone totally unhinged.
Yep.
Realistically, it would be a much better outcome for the platform to wake up and improve while...
I think that what Twitch should do is Twitch should make a separate category for political and spicy conversations, and then have that category have less types of ads. That way people can still stream the content, but the content doesn't directly affect the advertisers. That's what I think that Twitch should do. Basically call the category is only politics, only the drama category, unhinged, the terrorism category. That'd be fucking great. Hot tub politics, brain rot categories. No, I'm not even gonna read that one. That one's really bad. The races, you could have terrorism category, racism category, prostitution category, I guess gambling category. Maybe have a crypto scam category, right? So all the Elon Musk ones just go right into there.
Spending these people immediately, but I just don't really see that happening anytime soon, or it probably would have already. In the end, Twitch is facing a pretty devastating adpocalypse. They brought it on themselves, and the platform is about to undergo either radical changes...
You think there should be an abortion category? You think there'll be enough streams of abortions that it should get its own category? I don't know, man. Maybe if Kamala Harris wins presidency, they'll have an abortion category. Sounds really good, man. It's great.
Crash out fully, one or the other. There's no middle ground. They either change completely, start banning these people, and kind of overturn their entire business model for the past couple of years, or they fail as a platform. That's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. A special VPN deal, locals and Patreon, other special offers as well. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything, and have a nice night.
There it is. I think it's a massive problem for Twitch. Huge fucking problem. Gigantic fucking problem. Because it's only going to get worse. See, you guys might think that after the election is over, that okay, everybody's gonna return back to normal. Keep in mind, when did January 6th happen? Ah, jeez, when was that? Oh man, I think it was in January at some point. Maybe it was February? It was on January 6th, that's right. So we have another couple of months of this that's going on. Because so like if Trump loses the election, the only people I can tell you one person who doesn't think Trump is going to lose the election and won't think Trump lost the election regardless of the outcome of the election. And do you know who that person is? It's Trump. So I can guarantee you that this is going to be going on for the next 2 or 3 months. It's going to be like the election is going to be like the beginning of the show. That's like, you know, it's like that's the grand opening of the circus. It's not like that's going to be the end of it. It doesn't matter. He isn't sitting president at this time. It doesn't matter. You think that Trump can't cause trouble. You really think he can't cause trouble? I think he can cause plenty of trouble. Yeah, I really think he can. Free content for you? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I remember one time, on January 6th, I remember I stopped my stream and I went to bed and I took a nap and it was like in the afternoon and I woke up like 2 hours later and I opened up like the Twitch app and I see Hassan has like 150,000 viewers and I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, God, what happened? Like anytime he'll have like a lot of viewers, I always assume that like something really bad happened. You think that there's any trouble if Kamala loses? I do think so. I definitely think so. I don't know what that trouble is going to be yet. Whereas like we know what the trouble is going to be like if Trump loses. We know what that's going to be because it already happened. So I think that's what it's going to be. I'll link you guys the video. It's an upper echelon video. And as I said, I think this entire thing, it is going to negatively affect Twitch in a big way. I think that like the more that I look into this and the more I really evaluate it, I think that what's going to happen, what Twitch needs to do is they need to have a section for content that is like controversial. It's the same way as like right now they have, for example, like they've got if you look at the different categories, right? You've got like ASMR as a category, right? And like if you go on one of these streams, like for example, like I'm just going to look at this one. Let's see if I get an advertisement. I'm not getting an advertisement. What a surprise, because a lot of advertisers don't advertise on the ASMR section, for example. And so the problem, like I think that I don't want to see people get banned. I really mean this. I don't want to see people get banned. But what I do want to see is other people not be collateral damage for content. This is been on here 2 hours. They already got me again. Yeah. So anyway, good. Yeah. So I think that's what Twitch needs to do. Twitch needs to find a second category where they can bring people over to that are causing trouble that is separate from the base categories. And that way, like all of the problem boys, like all the Frogans, Hassan, me, realistically, most of the time, all of the problem boys go in that section and we just don't get as much advertisement. That's it. Like me. Yeah, exactly. Like me. And so I think that's probably what Twitch should do. Yeah, call it kick. Yeah, there you go. And I think that's the best way, because I don't want to see people like have their right to speak out against things that they believe in, even if those things are stupid or I disagree with them. I don't want to see them lose that right. I want everybody to be able to speak and everybody to have an opinion. But I think that like protecting advertisers and giving people the ability to talk about that stuff without putting advertisements at risk, I think is very fair and extremely reasonable. That's my perspective. But they don't want you to have that right. I understand that. And I think that if you have a rule, it needs to be applied to everybody. But I'm talking about it. I know I'm being an idealist here, okay? I'm being an idealist. But I'm just saying that's what I think the solution for it is. Concord has been permanently shut down. We're going to do one more. What do you think about chatters just getting shadow banned? They don't know that they're typing for nothing. I think shadow banning annoying chatters is the most base thing that you can ever do. because they're like, I fucking hate you, piece of shit. I fucking you fucking piece of shit. And then nobody reads it. No, they don't even, nobody. It's getting immediately deleted. Like nobody sees this. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it's great.